Hi everybody, welcome along. Nigel here from Nigel's Modelling Bench, and I've got a product review for you today. And this is basically a set of aftermarket barrels for your machine guns, for your 50 cals in your Airfix 1/24 scale F6F Hellcat. And these are from Master of Poland. They're a well-renowned company now for making some fantastic aftermarket parts, and their brass barrels are just, you know, immeasurably fantastic. I reached out to Master going back a few months ago, and they said as soon as they have these sort of released and everything and in manufacture, they would send me samples. And sure to their word, they have. They sent me a couple of samples, and what we've got here is AM24018 and AM24019. Now the 018 set, from what I can see, the only difference is they don't have the fairings. The 24019 has the fairings for the guns. This is early, this is late. Now, I've just before I've done this review, I've looked through my references. I've got a couple of books and I've got a lot of photographs stored on my computer, and I only found one picture of a Hellcat with the guns unfaired. Now, it does look better because you've got the perforations in the cooling jackets exposed rather than these fairings covering them up. And don't worry, we are going to go through this in a minute and I'm going to show you them. And I know that we got a bit of gloss problem with the camera, but don't worry, that will all be sorted in a second. So basically these are unfaired and these are faired, and as I say, from what I can see, the difference is in the actual fairings. Everything else seems to be identical, but we'll look at that in a second. So first of all, let's have a look at the kit parts and why it is we want to get these gun barrels. If we go to the Airfix instructions, you can see here what they're saying is we've got G15 and G14 are two machine guns, and we're going to glue barrels to the end of them. And these are depicting faired gun barrels, and the reason they're different lengths is because this is the portion that's going to stick out of the wing, as you can see here. And you've got another machine gun here, G16, sorry, that doesn't stick out of the wing at all, and that sits in a blast tube here, which is part G40. Okay, so if we look at all these parts, I would say, I mean, some areas of the kit are fairly soft in their moulding, and I would say that the machine guns is probably one of the worst parts. If you go back to my build videos, as you know, I'm building two of these. I'm doing one in FAA with all the wings folded and everything, and I'm doing one as a gloss sea blue with wings out but everything open. So, you know, the under hatch open, the canopy open, wings, everything open. So this is basically a mishmash of two kits, really. So here we can see, if you look back at my beard, you'll see what I've done. And if you haven't built this section of your kit yet, go and look at my wing build videos, because you'll see there is a lot to learn about this, and there's a lot of cleanup and some modifications, in my opinion, required. Although saying that, one of my kits was better than the other, so I'm sure there aren't two mold tools, but I think it's all about, one of the issues this kit has is I think the manufacturers are taking the parts out of the molds too quickly and laying them down on top of each other, and I think some parts are getting flattened. I've certainly heard, makes no difference where in the world they are, but I've certainly heard of a couple of cases in America where the fuselage halves are basically completely, well, not completely, but flattened out. So a lot of cutting, a lot of cleanup required. And if we look at these guns in here, you can see what I've done here. I've basically built the guns up, and then I've cut them off and put this plastic tube around so that I could insert the plastic fairings in afterwards. And that's the way I've done it, to make it so that the fairings are there and they're not sticking out when I'm trying to sand the seam on the wing and everything. So that's why I've done that. But we can see here that if we look, if we're going to have our guns, this particular model won't have its guns exposed, so this will all be sealed up. But if we where are we, if we join these wing halves together, and you'll see what I mean about how difficult this is to build by just how difficult it is to pull it all together. We can see here I'm pulling that around, and it's taking me all my strength to hold that together. It really is. There we go. You hear that click then? That's where all the ribs all click into their slots and everything, and the slots have had to be widened. But this is about the Master gun barrels, not about the Airfix kit. So you can see that when we look inside here, if I could just grab a pointer, on the inboard gun you can't see any of the barrel. Okay, so this brass part here, the perforated cooling jacket, so in that instance, you know, you're not really gaining much. But with this one and this one, you're gaining a lot, because you can see the barrel there, and you can definitely see the barrel there. Okay, so there's your one benefit. So if you're building this model with your guns exposed, then you've got a big benefit in detail in there, because instead of looking at the soft moulding, you're looking at the actual brass metal barrel, which is going to go, metal jacket, which is going to go over the metal barrel, which you also get in the set there. So there's your one big advantage. For me, the major advantage is the ends. Now, as we saw in the Airfix instructions, basically what we're doing here is we've got ends here that we're going to add to these machine guns. And if we look at the ends, and I did mention this in my build, you can see here that the barrels, the ends they're not slide molded or anything. They're just molded this way around, because Airfix don't seem to do slide molding. And the sprue attachment points are massive, and they've put the attachment points on the exposed areas. Like on this one, you can see it's right on the end of the barrel. Great. And then when you cut it off, you've got to sand it all around and everything, and try and make it look really nice. Draw the barrel out. You know, it's not easy. Plus you've got this join here where you've got this stepped area here, and that's going to glue onto the barrel, onto the end of the machine gun barrel here. Okay, so all in all, you've got very softly molded cooling jackets, you've got very softly molded ends to the guns, but also you've got this piece here, which is your blast tube for the, sorry, I've nudged the camera, this is the blast tube for the outboard gun, and that is also very soft. And you can see in here, when you look in there, you end up with this, when the wings are together, you kind of end up with a seam running through those holes. So not so much of a problem with these two, because you've got barrels sticking out of them, but this one, that's all you're going to get. There's nothing else. So Master are giving you a blast tube to go in there, so you could actually put that in, deal with your seam, sand it all flush, and then you'll have a perfectly round hole, rather than having this plastic sort of join. So it's going to help there. So let's have a look at what we get in the Master set. Now, these are the instructions you get with the set. As you can see, they're tiny. So I've printed them off here from their website. And today we're going to look at the set 019, sorry, because that includes the fairings. And as I said, as far as I can see, the only difference in them is one set includes the fairings and one doesn't. Now I'm looking at these now, and I'm thinking the barrels look exactly the same. The cooling jackets look exactly the same. The blast tubes look exactly the same. You can see the blast tubes here. The barrels you can see here, they look exactly the same. And then you've got the cooling jackets here, and they look exactly the same. So if there is no difference, then you really may as well get this set and just not use the fairings if you want to go early. And as I say, the only picture I found, of all my pictures, I found one image of a Hellcat without fairings, and it was an early British example. So in the set we're getting 2 blast tubes, 2 mid fairings, and 2 inboard fairings. Okay, so you can see the ends of those, we'll get them out in a second, they're faired off. Then we've got our 6 gun barrels and our 6 cooling jackets. So what you've got to do is come along with your kit parts, and they're telling you you've got to cut it off, cut the barrel off here and here and here, okay, and then drill a 1mm hole. If you're not exposing your gun barrels, what you could do is just cut that off, drill a 1 meter hole, and not worry about it, and then you can put your guns in afterwards. After you've done your wing sieve and everything, you should be able to find it and put it in. Now the outboard gun, if you're not having your barrels exposed, you may as well glue it in now because it doesn't stick through anyway, but the other two stick through, so you'll be able to put those through. You can see here that when that barrel goes in, you can see it's sticking out of the wing. Let me just cut this open and then I can show you. Let's just go down the, I'm assuming that, yeah, there is no so let's just go down here so we can get these out. So what you're going to do is actually drill out your barrel, whoops, with a 1mm hole. Can't pick them up because I have no fingernails, and you can see the end of that barrel, if I can get it to focus. The end of that barrel is drilled perfectly, it's beautiful. And then that's going to sit inside the fairing. Try and get these out without pouring them all out. Today would be nice, there we go. So we get the fairing out, and that's going to go over the end of the barrel, like so. So that's what you're going to get on the end of your gun barrel. Where are we? There we go. So that's what you're going to get on the end of your gun barrel, rather than that. So you can see the difference is lovely. It's really, really nice. Plus you haven't got to worry about sanding it all round and everything. And this fairing, this is for the longest gun. And you can see here, if I hold this flush with the front of the machine gun, you can see that that sticks through there. So what you could do is just draw that out 1mm, glue these guns in, and then after your wings are assembled, you'll be able to push that through. And then you've also got your cooling jacket going on. So let's get a cooling jacket out. So that's going to slide over. That's going to slide over there like so. Now sometimes you might be able to see you get tiny little bits of swarf inside the barrels, so just blow them out, and then that fairing's going to go over the lot like that. So that's what basically you're going to see sticking out of your wing, something like this. Okay, obviously I'm trying to hold it straight. Now if you go for the unfaired, that's what you're going to see. You'll see that sticking out of the wing with the cooling jacket exposed. So it's a lot more interesting detail wise, a lot more interesting to look at than that, but I haven't, every picture I've got other than one, they've all got the fairings on, so pays your money, you takes your choice. So there we go, they are an immense improvement over the stock gun barrels. If we look at them there, you can see the metallic look is so much better than, I'm going to make sure it's focusing. The metallic look is so much better than the plastic look. Now I will be using these on both of my kits, and as I say, the US Navy version, which is this wing section here, this one's having the wings, the guns exposed. So as we can see here, that's what you'll be able to see through there. You'll see the guns like this. So I'll be able to see my nice brass barrels down in there, and then I'll have the fairing sticking out of the front, like so, rather than the plastic mess that's in the, well, not the plastic mess, but the plastic parts that are in the kit. Okay, so cost wise, the early ones without the fairings, AM24018 is £18.20, and that's from Hannants in the UK. Obviously all your major model suppliers all over the world will have these because they're such a well-known manufacturer. And then 24019 is £19.20. So all in all, I think they're absolutely worth it. If you haven't got these on your kit and you've finished your model, you could always actually cut the barrels off and stick these fairings on afterwards, or you could just buy the set and use the fairings over your, just sand your guns down and use the fairings over them, and then keep these for something else, because 50 cals are 50 cals at the end of the day. So as I say, I'll be using these, and I will use the unfaired on my Royal Navy aircraft, or the Fleet Air Arm aircraft should I say. Whether it's accurate or not I don't know, but it's just going to look great. And the thing is, the wings will be folded and I'll be pointing down anyway, so not such an issue. And the US Navy one with the guns exposed and everything will have this set with the fairings and everything on. So keep your eyes open for that build. I will get back into it very, very soon, and I know that a lot of you are dying to see that. So anyway, so that we go. That's the Master Barrels 24018, 24019 for the Airfix 124 scale Hellcat. Go get yourself some and give your model that extra little zing. Thanks for watching. Happy modelling. Goodbye.